Right, welcome ladies and gentlemen to another video, and today we're going to talk about what is actually keeping you at 18% body fat or higher. So up first, I'm 22, but I've worked with guys in their 30s who were stuck at exactly this point, and that's why I decided to make this video. So if you're training, you're eating pretty well, maybe you've been doing this for a while now, but that last bit of body fat is sitting around at 18% and it just won't move. I know that it can be frustrating because, like I said, I have several clients that I work with who've been stuck above 18%. So here's what I've noticed, and this took me a while to figure out. It's never one big thing. It's never like, oh, you just need to cut out bread. It's usually 5 or 6 small things, and they're all stacking up on top of each other. So when you can't see them, you can't fix them, right? So let me walk you through this board, and hopefully a few more things will click for you. And the first thing I want to talk about is metabolic and hormonal changes, as you can see right here. So let me break this down for you. Let's start with something that nobody really tells you straight. Once you hit your 30s, your body shifts a little. Your metabolism doesn't fall off a cliff. That's just a myth. But it does slow down. So stress hormones tend to run a bit higher and your body gets slightly less efficient at using testosterone. So what does it actually mean for you? It means the stuff that worked at 22, eating decent, maybe hitting the gym 3 times a week, now just kind of keeps you where you are, but it doesn't move the needle anymore. So the thing is, you haven't failed. Your body has just changed and your approach needs to catch up on it, right? Then the next thing we're going to talk about is lifestyle factors. This is also a very important point. Now, this part hits close to home for a lot of you guys. That could be sleep, stress, and how much you actually move during the day. So when you're not sleeping enough, your hunger hormones fall apart. And then you want more food, your workouts feel harder, and your recovery is slower, right? So everything just gets a little bit worse. Now, when cortisol stays high, and for a lot of you guys in their 30s with jobs and families, it does. So your body holds onto water, and then you get cravings, especially at night. And then you end up eating in a way you wouldn't if you actually felt calm. And then there's another thing, sitting. If you got a desk job or you're working from home, you could be burning 400 to 500 fewer calories per day than you think you are. And that gap adds up fast. So honestly, just think about your last week. How was the sleep? How was the stress? How much did you actually move outside of the gym? All right, let's move to the next point, and that is nutrition traps. This is very, very important because this is where most people get stuck without realizing it. Here's the thing, you can eat completely healthy and still not be in a calorie deficit, and that's the trap. Foods like olive oil, nut butter, avocado, protein bars, those little handful of nuts while you're cooking, these foods are all fine to eat, but they're also very easy to overconsume. And then when the weekend happens, a lot of guys are really just disciplined from Monday through Friday. They're tracking their food, they're cooking at home, they're doing everything right. But when Saturday comes and then you want to have a few drinks, you go out to dinner, and then maybe you have a brunch on Sunday, and then just like that deficit from the whole week is gone. And that's not because you're undisciplined, but because nobody added it up, right? And the other one is protein. If you're not eating enough of it, you're hungrier than you need to be. And you're probably losing more muscle than fat when the weight comes off, right? And at this stage of the game, fat loss needs to be intentional and not obsessive, but you just have to be honest with yourself. That is why tracking always wins. Up next, we're going to talk about training issues. And let me be real here. A lot of people who plateau are actually doing too much in the gym. Not just the right things, but they're doing hours of cardio, random exercises. They're always moving, but they never really building, right? And here's the problem with that. If you're not doing heavy compound lifting, you're not protecting your muscle, that means you will lose the muscle and you will slow down fat loss. It's that simple, right? And I've also seen a lot of guys just accumulate workouts without a plan. They're always tired, they always feel a little sore, but they're not actually progressing. The thing is, that's not discipline, that's just volume without direction. So more is not always better. You have to be intentional with the time that you spend in the gym. The next thing I want to address on this board is psychological barriers. This is one part that a lot of people skip, But honestly, it's probably the most important part. So when you ask yourself, how many times have you said you will start fresh on Monday, or you will start when a new year comes, or once work calms down, you really lock in? That's not laziness, that's a pattern. And patterns like that can kill years of potential progress, right? That is what most people don't realize. So some guys are also stuck in an identity that means they think of themselves as someone who cannot do it, or cutting feels like losing on something. So they never fully commit. And then there's emotional eating habits that also a lot of my clients used to struggle with. And that means you're just using food to decompress after a hard day. And that's incredibly common, especially for guys who are high performing in other areas of their life. They're pretty successful with their job. So they're disciplined everywhere else. But food becomes the one release where they allow themselves to cheat over and over again. And the honest truth is, the plan you actually stick to beats the perfect plan you keep putting off every single time. And that's also why I said before, sometimes doing less is actually more. So let me show you a couple of solutions and breakthrough strategies that you can apply. What do you actually do with that? First of all, you need to focus on the nutrition. Get into a small deficit. 300 to 500 calories a day is enough. Don't try to starve it off. Get your protein up to around 1 gram per pound of body weight, and then track that. You don't have to do this forever, but long enough to know what you're actually eating. And you'll probably be surprised how much you're eating throughout the day that you're not even aware of. Then the next thing is training. Lift minimum 3 to 4 times a week. Focus on compound movements like squats, deadlifts, presses, rows. That is going to be your foundation. Then hit 8 to 10,000 steps. Just get a walk in every single day, and that will change your body more than you expect. Then also add 1 or 2 short conditioning sessions on top of your structure, and you're done. Now, when it comes to recovery, a very important part that a lot of people still don't take serious enough, you want to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. That is non-negotiable. And find something that actually brings your stress down. For example, what I take before I go to sleep is ashwagandha. I love this supplement because it really calms down my mind, and I just overall feel way more relaxed during the time I sleep, right? So you can also do some breathing techniques or whatever may work for you just to calm your body down. Then up next, simplify your habits. It is not about being perfect, so don't even try to be perfect. Just try to be consistent. Most of the days, eat the same breakfast. I mean, that's what I do. I have my 5 eggs every morning and a porridge. So plan your dinner ahead. Even on weekends, give yourself one thing that you enjoy. Not many things, but one. And then by the end of each week, just review your goals. Check your weight. If nothing's moved in 2 weeks, either drop the calories slightly or add some more steps. Just small adjustments. That's really it, and that's going to set you up for success. So that was basically it. These are all the things that I wanted to break down so you can just have a better understanding of why you may not get down from 18% to 14, 15%, or whatever level you want to reach. But the thing is, I've worked with a lot of people. They were stuck at this point. They wanted to lose belly fat. They already were consistent in the gym, and maybe they were eating clean, but they didn't see the results that they wanted. And that is because all of these things that I was just talking about, they all add up together. Just getting your steps in, but not hitting your protein won't be enough. Hitting your protein, but not walking enough won't be enough. So combine all of these things that I just talked about together, and I promise you, you will see way better results, right? And almost none of the guys that I work with had one massive problem. They had a couple small ones. Sometimes it was a bit of stress here, then some poor sleep. Sometimes the weekends were slightly off, so a lot of alcohol, or the training wasn't quite in place. But the good news is that the solution works the same way. So you don't need the perfect plan. You just need a few small things done consistently over time, right? And that's how you finally move past 18% body fat. It's actually really simple, but I just made this video because a lot of people, they were still confused on how these things actually work together. So remember, you don't need more discipline. What you need is more clarity with the right things. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Peace.